At the Athlete Academy, our mission is simple: to prepare athletes to win in life and in sports. For student athletes grades 8th to 12th, we provide best in-class training that goes beyond the game. From physical and mental performance to leadership and life skills, we help athletes unlock their full potential. Visit our state-of-the-art athlete lab, learn from some of the best in sports, and experience what sets us apart. Schedule your site visit today at www.athleteacademydetroit.com.
Welcome to the Athlete Lab podcast. I'm Phil Osaer. Every week we dive into the habits and mindset that drive elite performance. Today I'm honored to be joined by Eric Kapitulik, founder and CEO of the program. Eric is a former Division I lacrosse player at the Naval Academy, went on to be a Marine Corps infantry member, and then also a sergeant. Eric was an ultra endurance athlete who received his MBA and is now living the world as a youth parent, youth coach. And after a full day of leadership training, we sat down and we talked through a lot of those things. His experiences in the Marine Corps, his experiences as a parent, coaching and parenting, and all the things that go around it. And most of all, what drives elite performance, what he looks for, and how he sees we can all improve. It was a fascinating discussion. I really hope you enjoy it. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Athlete Lab podcast. We're really excited to be joined by Eric Kapitulik of the program today. Eric, thanks for taking time to be here.
Thanks so much. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Great. So we're here at the Athlete Lab as today those of us in the Athlete Academy and Suburban Sports Group leadership just went through day one of your leadership training program. So It was unreal time, a lot of fun, a lot of engagement. I both talked to some of the students that went through it. They were pumped about it. And then us adults that had went through it in different roles in our company, everyone was, a little bit uncomfortable in a good way. It was a lot of fun. So thanks for taking the time to be here.
Yeah, thanks. We've had a relationship with the Suburban Sports Group, some part of it for years now. I mean, pre-COVID, even. So it's so much fun for us to come back and see people, even as they're progressing in their own career here in Suburban Sports Group. And it's always great to be around the young athletes.
Yeah, well, we first met back at Michigan State when you worked with the Michigan State hockey team.
Yeah.
And I can vividly remember after one 3-hour session or 2-hour session early in the morning, we were talking after, and you, without knowing any of the players, were able to identify the kids who were leaders on that team, athletes that were leaders. And that always stuck with me as, there's certain attributes. So that's a really cool thing. Like what made you want to start this type of, you had a great career and then you decide to go in this route. How'd that all come about?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Just before I answer it though, getting back to that Michigan State team, a guy like Torrey Krug makes it pretty easy for us to pick out who's the athlete on the team when you have Torrey Krug on your team, right? And he's such a, obviously, he's a world-class talent, great hockey player, but a great leader, great teammate and a great leader. I mean, exceptional. So he made it pretty easy that year, right? As far as the program is concerned, though, the idea, I really do get a lot of compliments from people being like, oh my God, Caps, what a great idea. And I tell everybody the same thing, Coach, it is a great idea, isn't it? It's not my idea, but it's a great idea. And I always say that because really where the impetus for the program came from, kind of the genesis of it, I should say, is a long time ago, 17 years ago now. We just celebrated our 17th year birthday. 17 years ago, I just started a company that was going to do hourly strength and conditioning coaches for high schools that don't have the money to have full-time strength and conditioning coaches. That's a lot of high schools. That was my idea. At the same time, the new Harvard men's lacrosse coach, a guy by the name of John Tillman, just took over as the head coach. He had been the assistant at Navy for years. One of the last things I did in the Marine Corps was work at the Naval Academy, and when I had gotten there, some guys had gotten in trouble, and their head coach, the men's lacrosse coach at Navy, had said, hey, Cap, can you come down here and just wear these guys out for a few days for getting in trouble? So that's what I did. Fast forward a few years, I just start the program, and the new Harvard men's lacrosse coach, who had been the assistant at Navy, calls me and says, "Hey, Cap, I just took over this team. We need some help on, resiliency. We need some help on effective communication. We need some help on being great teammates, being great leaders. Will you come out here?" So I did. And from that first event, working with Harvard men's lacrosse, calling guys out to the front of the group and having them just lead some basic exercises. These are great young men. I mean, smart, intelligent, good people, obviously great athletes, but they would struggle being in front of the group. And from that one event, we worked with 3 other college men's lacrosse teams in our first year in business. In year 2, we worked with 9. By year 3, we worked with over 30, and I was completely out of the strength and conditioning business. I always tell everybody that revenue to a company is like talent to an athletic team. If you have it, you have no problems. You just have challenges. We just have challenges.
We had something common we didn't think of. I also played lacrosse. It dates us a little bit, but not the level you did.
Yeah.
When you went to talk us through your athletic career going to the Naval Academy to play lacrosse, did you always have your eyes set on going to the Naval Academy and lacrosse was a vehicle, or how did that all play out?
Yeah. No, it was not. Really, first of all, to date myself, I date myself by saying that I started playing lacrosse in high school. Who does that now, right? But I really came from a running and a basketball background. And when I started playing lacrosse, as soon as, what you're trying to do offensively and defensively is very similar to hockey and basketball, what you're trying to do on a lacrosse field. So I definitely had an advantage there to pick the sport up quickly. But yeah, I started playing in high school, and then, when I was coming out of high school, I really didn't know what I was going to do or where I was going to go or anything else. But a guy that I played basketball with, his family away from home that he would stay at in high school, was the man of the house was a Naval Academy grad. And I met this guy, and he said, "Have you ever thought about going to the Naval Academy?" And he was an old World War II submarine captain. And he kind of put the idea in my head. And I was applied and got in. And then I had to decide, where I was going to go to school. And going to the Naval Academy has been a constant in my life, or why I went to school there has been a constant in my life, which has always been things that scare me a little.
Okay.
I don't know if I can do it. God, I hate being beaten by that. I always say yes to doing stuff like that. And that was really the big reason why I went to the Naval Academy. Now, when you get there, it obviously becomes much more about a whole lot of other stuff. But why I went to school there, it wasn't because of some great love of country or love of the Marine Corps or do something bigger than myself. It was none of those reasons. I went there because it made me a little bit nervous. Could I do it? And that's why I went there. What kept me there was a lot of other stuff, though.
Right. What a interesting look at intrinsic motivation. You look at what motivates certain people, and the fact that what motivates you is that you're a little bit scared. That says a lot about what probably how you were brought up, but also just what you're made of. That's cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I think about it even before that. That the essay, my college counselor essay that he wrote about why I should go to the Naval Academy for the Naval Academy was a story about he and I building stone walls in the summer. And we did it by hand. And we couldn't get this huge stone into the stone wall. Couldn't do it. And we went home. He's like, we'll do it tomorrow when we're fresh. Went home. I couldn't sleep knowing that stone beat me. I drove my bike back out there by myself, got the stone back into place, drove home on my bike that night. Showed up the following morning. He's like, "What? How did this happen?" I told him, I was like, "Dude, I just couldn't let that stone beat me." He wrote a story about that. I just don't want I just don't want it to beat me.
That's awesome. You slept well that night.
Yes.
So you have the military training, which, thank you for your service, first of all.
Yeah, thanks.
The military training to me is completely foreign as far as like what goes into it. How can you relate athletic training, preparing lacrosse and in the Northeast, that was like legit, even at our ages, like that was a real thing at that time. So high school, like lacrosse training to military training. What are the similarities and what are the differences?
God, I feel like I've read, I'll tell you, I see, I had a conversation with an author, a psychologist. He wrote a book called Boys Adrift. It was awesome. He's subsequently written The Collapse of Parenting, really why gender matters. Unbelievable author, and I was talking to him, and he once said how like the military has or is like nothing to do about parenting or is detrimental to being a good parent. Of some of the things that we do at the program, people are like, oh, that's like based on your military training. I don't understand it. I think it's said by people who just have never been in the military, quite frankly, because, man, I'll talk about not even my training at the program. As a parent, as a dad, so much of the Marine Corps influences me as a parent now. But then, yes, much of the military training is an influence on our training here. But so is being an athlete. And it's so similar, Coach, to what we do in the military. I mean, I'm a 22-year-old. I graduate the Naval Academy. 4 days later, the season ends. My lacrosse season ends. My senior year lacrosse season ends. I graduate from the Naval Academy 2 weeks later. 4 days after that, I'm in Marine Corps training. A year after that, I'm 22, 23 years old, walking out as a brand new infantry officer to my first infantry platoon. So how are you going to lead that? Well, I've been an athlete my entire life. I've been in Marine Corps training for a year. So how am I going to lead? At that point, it's mostly based on me as an athlete. I've just been doing it for a lot longer. So yeah, there are some nuances and differences. I think, quite frankly, that in the military, being a leader in the military can be easier in many ways than on an athletic team. In the military, you've got rank. There's a rank structure. On a team, okay, you might be the captain, and maybe you're an upperclassman, maybe. But, to lead your peers, that's much more challenging. So, yeah, the military certainly had an influence on what we do and this, but there's a lot of influences in my life.
Well, yeah, I heard you talk earlier about like kids and being a parent, and I don't know, like in military, my understanding is there's a lot of compulsory. Like if you tell somebody a lower rank what they do, they have to do it. Yeah, that's not parenting.
No,
because when I tell my kids what to do, they sure as heck don't know. Fall in line or whatever, it's more of a convincing and like that end of it. So it's interesting how people might assume that it comes to your military background.
Yeah, no, and I think as an example, some of the things from the military that I really bring forward as a dad is just that how appreciative we should be. How even I grew up, let alone my kids, it's not normal. How we live here in America, it's not normal. Most of the world does not live the way we live here. The fact that when we're warm, we turn on an air conditioner, or we're cold, we turn on a heater. That's not the case for most of the world, right? So, let alone going into a supermarket here. It's just awesome, right? Just awesome. So, hot showers. Oh my God, how wonderful are hot showers. So some of those things and the appreciation I try to instill in our kids about just being American. Being American. And then to your point, Coach, though, yes, in the military, I think you can just force people to do things because of rank, just like you can force your kid to do things Sure. In fact, I don't know if we'll talk about it here today, but certainly I think one of the big issues or something I just don't want to do and am not as a parent has been like forcing my kid to work out, forcing my kid to play the same sport all year round, any of that stuff. You can do it at a certain age, but just like in the military, who you are is not who you are when the boss is around. It's who you are when nobody's watching, whether the boss is a military rank structure or a parent. And I want to make sure that I raise my children to be great men and great women when the boss isn't around.
That's a great point. You touch on it with today's athletic training landscape. So you mentioned that you played other sports. You have somebody you played basketball with, you played lacrosse.
Yeah.
When you look at today's training landscape as in your role and then working with all these different teams that you do, and then also being able to see it from a parent's lens, like what do you see that's good? Because one thing I think people always we're quick to say that this generation doesn't do X, Y, Z, but there's a lot of great athletes coming up. There's a lot of kids who care and they care about the nutrition. There's a lot of good that's coming up, like highly informed young athletes. But what would you say is the good and what would you say is the stuff that you wish if you could snap your fingers and change, you would?
Yeah. So first of all, you'll never hear anybody at the program talk about the kids these days.
That's great.
We love the kids these days. Our joke, as we go, is, oh no, it's the kids these days we love. It's their parents we hate. No, but I only say that jokingly because look, the truth is, most of the kids these days are exceptional young people, and most of the parents are exceptional parents. Exceptional kids don't come from unexceptional parents. That doesn't happen. So most of the parents are great too. The issue in youth sports is that it's the squeaky wheel. It's a couple of sets of parents on a team that will ruin it for their own kid in the long run, but every other kid makes the coach miserable. I mean, it's a few parents. It's not the majority, right? And in today's things, sports are different than when we were younger and we played. And I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm saying that in our family, what's right is our kids are multi-sport athletes. They play multiple sports. But one thing that I would add to that is they play multiple sports and there's a season for every sport. See, parents nowadays, a lot of them are like, oh, my child's a multi-sport athlete. No, your child is overscheduled. So your child, they're a multi-sport athlete, but it's hockey year-round, and then you add lacrosse into it, and then you add whatever that other sport is into it. So, yes, in theory, your child's a multi-sport athlete, but they're playing still the same sport all year round. And what I think we've seen in our business, and then also just as parents, is does it produce unbelievable hockey players? But it's not just hockey. It's every sport now. It's every sport now. Yeah. Does it produce wonderful hockey players? Yes, it does. But there's a lot of kids who just get burnt out. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of kids who give up on hockey because they would be, what happened 30 years ago would be a late bloomer. They don't happen now because kids are not playing football in the fall and then, or soccer, girls soccer in the fall type of thing. So, for us as parents, it was always just our kids are going to play multiple sports. They're going to put sports away for a season. Now, one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach I've ever seen, is the high school basketball coach at East Catholic High School in Connecticut. They're the best high school basketball team year in and year out in our state. I'm blessed. He's a good friend. My son is going to go play basketball for him here in a couple of years. He said something to my wife and I when our children were very young that I share with every parent, which is push your child just enough when they're really young. Push them just enough so that when they get to a certain age, 13, 14 years old, if they decide they want to be awesome at it, they just aren't too far behind. That has been some of the greatest advice I've ever received as a parent of a youth athlete. Push them just enough when they're young so that when they get to a certain age, and it's probably 13, 14, they're just not too far behind. If you do that, and I can only see it with my son and other parents who have shared this with and have done the same. At 13 years old, my son, you can't get him out of a basketball gym. Can't get it out. You can't get him out of the weight room. I'm the guy who's like, Axe, you've got to let your body recover, man. Like, it's all him driving to be awesome at this. He played with so many young people who would run circles around him at young ages at that sport because they played basketball all year round.
More time.
And now they're sick of it. The kid is sick of it, hates it, whatever. So if there's any like general feeling, it would be that it's worked for us.
Yeah, and that's like, you got that anecdotal right now experience, a multi-sport. I'm with you. It's like I talk to people who are multi-sport athletes, and I'm a bit guilty of it right now. You got a daughter who's playing hockey and soccer. This is a shoulder season right now, so she played 2 games. She rushed from her soccer game, threw on her hockey stuff. And that is part of the reality. I'm super conscious of seasons and the ability to create athletes. I think it just goes so much further in life, because if you can shoot a basket, you can play, you can do these things, like you don't know when it's going to actually pay off later in life. And being around the other aspect of multi-sport is you're on a different group of people, and where you fit in with that different group of people, even at 8, 9, 10, really matters.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that parents have to see, because it's winning. I used to work for someone who oversaw hockey development, USA Hockey, and he'd always say, win the race, the right finish line. Mm-hmm. Are you trying to win a 9U championship, or are you trying to develop a well-rounded person?
100%.
Right.
100%. And that's why, like, in our family, we don't ever talk about D1, D playing in college. We don't ever talk about that as a family. We don't bring it up. We don't talk about winning very much in our family. Naturally, the kids do. Our kids are going to bring up the goals that they score, or the touchdowns, or the number of points in the games. My wife and I don't, though. We are very clear about this. Performance. It matters. Winning's better than losing. If performance didn't matter, then it wouldn't feel so good when you win. It wouldn't feel so bad when you lose. As we are very conscientious about, my son scores 40 points in a basketball game. Axel, I'm so happy for you. I'm happy for him. Doesn't make me proud of him. Axel, all of the hard work, getting up early before school, going to the weight room, being a great, holding your teammate accountable, having the courage to hold your teammate accountable, being kind to people who don't have what you have, Axel. That's what makes mom and dad proud of you. Most importantly, we hope it's what makes you proud of you. I get it. Score a lot of points, score touchdowns. It makes us happy. Who's not going to be happy about that? Of course, it makes you happy. What should make you proud is your values, who you are, your character. That's what makes mom and dad proud. That's all we talk about in our family constantly. And we just believe that if we do so, well, what they do athletically, well, I don't know. Did he win the gene pool? Did she win the gene pool or not? I don't know. It helps to do so. Mm-hmm. Are they actually going to be good enough? Are they going to have those skills? I'm not sure, one way or the other. I do know this. Someday, they're going to get married. They'll have a family. I don't know that, but they're going to be adults, I hope, some point.
Right.
And their success, we can use athletics as a great a great tool to make them the best husband, dad, mom, wife that they can be. We can use athletics for that. Or we can use athletics, and it is being used to teach some really bad life lessons too. So it starts at home. We try to do our best.
Right. No, there's so much good there, because it does start at home. I love that happy versus proud.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're happy about one instance, one game, But that doesn't mean that when you get home, you have a green light to act differently now that, for that hour and a half, you had a different stature amongst a bunch of cheering adults.
Yeah.
Grandparents don't always show up to watch you, do your chores or be kind to somebody, but they're at those games, and it's inevitable that kids start to feel an elevated sense of self. But if you're clear with them, you're happy because of this, but you're proud of them because of this, they're gonna know why you're proud of them, which is important.
Yeah, happy for, proud of.
Yeah,
that's always what we talk about. Happy for, proud of.
That's excellent. And the other thing I love that you said is that most kids are good, most parents are good. And that's something I say to our kids all the time. Like that's the reality. Most people are good, and if you go into that assumption, and it's just making sure that as coaches you manage the squeaky wheels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What would you say? Like, how do you handle it? So let's say my son's on your team and I'm the squeaky wheel. Like my son needs to be this, and that, and like, how do you handle that?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a challenge, right? I mean, some parents, a couple of parents, I mean, when we talk to coaches about this, what we always highlight to them when we talk to parents is, it's not that you disagree with the way, say, I coach. We have a philosophical difference on how to raise young people. You just have a different philosophical way that you believe is in your child's best interest to be raised. Let me give you one example. Last lacrosse season, I'm coaching lacrosse. This one kid, one game. He's played a lot this season. One game, he didn't get as much playing time. I get an email from the parents saying, we'd like to talk to you about so-and-so's playing time. I emailed them back. Now look, these parents are doing what they think are in their child's best interest, right? But getting back to a philosophical difference. I emailed them back. I'll be happy to talk to you. The child's young. It's 11, 12 years old, right? I'll be happy to talk to you about how your son can improve as a lacrosse player. But I want your son there to hear it. He's already heard this because I've already had this conversation with him, but I'm happy to share with you so you hear directly from me to your son how to be a better lacrosse player. We're not talking about playing time. Playing time, I mean, there's 1,000 things that go into that. I mean, look, if the two kids before him go to soccer practice that day, your child may not be any better of a lacrosse player, and he's going to play the entire game. Is that what you're shooting for, to have him play the entire game? Because again, getting back as a parent, I just want my son to be the best lacrosse player he can be. Like, make him the best lacrosse player you can make him to be. Playing time, what is that? Like, I don't know, do the other kids on his team suck? I mean, he may get a lot of playing time. I mean, is that what you want? So, number one, I don't ever talk playing time. Talk about how to improve, right? Number one. Number two, I'm always going to have the parent and the child there together. If there may be a topic that you don't, but no, I want them there together. So everybody's hearing the same messaging. I'm also going to have an assistant coach with me, because with some parents, what you say and what they hear, or what they're going to then turn around and say you said, is very different. So I want to have an assistant coach there with me. Phil, now, my son is playing football. He doesn't get the playing time he wants. It's a couple years ago. Okay. I think I should play this, that. Comes to me, talk to me about it. Okay. Well, let's have a conversation. I'm going to play your coach. You play you.
Okay.
Let's have a conversation about how you're going to talk to your coach, how you're going to approach him, how you're going to say this. And I'll play the coach. Okay, now you go talk to your coach. I'm not getting involved. Now, if we're talking about the health of my child, or I think, there's a psychological thing. I mean, there could be reasons that the parent may want to talk to a coach for youth kids. But by and large, what a wonderful opportunity to develop my son's courage. It takes courage to talk to an adult. His courage, his ability to articulate his thoughts to a coach, to find out what he needs to do from the coach or a boss someday. great. Yeah. And you, oh my God, he's 12 years old. Yeah, who you are at 12 is who you are at 22 is who you are at 42. Might as well start developing it at 12.
Absolutely.
Not all parents think that. That's fine. They can raise their child however they want to raise them. This is just how my wife and I have decided to do it with our children.
And that's some of the value of sports in general, youth sports, college sports, whatever level, is that they do have to sit in those uncomfortable situations, and encouraging kids to talk to coaches
Yes.
about things like that. That's the value.
Yes.
The value isn't the potential Division I scholarship. The value is those one interactions, getting cut from a team or having to try out. Like, that stuff is, one of, I could go on.
Yes.
I asked very respectfully of an organization to just force my daughter to try out.
Yeah.
8 minutes into tryouts, are you on the team or not? I'm like, did she jog down to set her water bottle on that well? Now, and like that you lost that, like the value in it. And it's not good, it's not bad. It's a real life experience that sports can be that vehicle for that can help them.
Have you ever done theater group?
I have not.
No. How about a band?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
God help me if I'm ever in the theater group or the band, right? Like we all took piano lessons for like 8 years. My sisters, like, they would go to the concert, there were recitals, rehearsals, right? I was never even asked to be part of the rehearsal. That's how bad I am at that stuff, right? But I feel like sports, though, it gets a get out of jail free card where everybody says, oh my God, sports teach such great life lessons. As I was saying earlier, no, it doesn't. Great parents and great coaches do through sports. You can teach bad ones too. I don't see why people don't say, oh my God, the theater group, you can teach such great life lessons through theater group. It makes intuitive sense to me. They're performers. They're up on a stage. They get cut. They're not good enough. They got to try out. It seems to me like theater group would be exactly the same.
They might not get the role that they want.
That's right. But for some reason, people don't say theater group teaches such great life lessons, right?
Right.
We just use this in America about sports. And it doesn't. Sports don't teach great life lessons. Great parents, great coaches can use sports to teach great life lessons. Some parents choose not to, and I really think, getting back to your earlier question about a coach, are you going to change them? You're not going to change them, coach. Try to minimize their impact on your team. I haven't always done a good job of that. I feel like as I've coached more and really worked on it, I do a better job of it. How do I do it? I am not, as a coach, going to affect that kid more than his own parents are, his or her own parents are. A child's not going to be who we want them to be on our team. I address it with them. I address it in front of the team. And then I'm coaching all of the kids that are doing everything right. They're going to get my time and my energy. I don't let that one child or that family, I address it with them. My focus stays on all those great kids on your team and all the great parents who support you. Have it focused on them. That's what I try to do.
One of the things you touched on today in the program was the importance of communication. Relationships are basic. Yeah. And so that's what a coach is doing. They're communicating, but they're not just communicating to the player. They're communicating to the coach right away, communicating at tryouts. And hopefully there's teams that don't have tryouts. But like that's a big piece of it, and the communication.
Boy, it really is. And getting back to, parents, was on this coaching a basketball team, and one of the coached on a Saturday. Friday, some parents were really upset at the head coach because their kid didn't get enough playing time. Saturday, that coach, the head coach, he was working, so now I'm the head coach. And some of those kids whose parents were really upset got a lot of playing time on Saturday. As I told the kids after the game, I want to be clear. If you didn't get a lot of playing time last night, but you got a lot today, it wasn't because of a change in coach. It was because it's a completely different game. Last night we were in a tight one. Today we beat this team by 40. Play everybody, right? And play them a lot, right? That's why you played a lot. I then said, guys, number one. Number two, I'll just share with you this. Instead of talking about playing time, think about how you can become the best player you can become. For you to become the best player that you can become, That's going to require you, yes, to show up at practice and work hard, but it also is going to require you to sacrifice. Saturday morning, Saturday night, do you need to be on your game system playing games, or can you be in the gym? It requires sacrifice. Coach, that's all I said to the boys after the game. I sent the text message to all the parents saying, so there's no confusion. I just want to let you know what I told the boys after the game. It wasn't because of the coach, changing coaches. Friday was a tight one. Today was a blowout. All the boys want to get them in as much as we can. It's a blowout. And I mentioned this thing about sacrifice. 90% of the parents were like, Coach, I love it. Thank you. One parent, one dad immediately. The kids have to be kids. It's not their job. They should have fun. It should be this. I never said that kids shouldn't be kids or that they can't play video games. Sacrifice some of your time. I'm going to talk to the principal about this. 90% of the parents, right? And we just have a philosophical difference about not coaching, about how to raise young people. And I think as coaches, the more that you can communicate, the more that you can over-communicate, the better relationship you're going to have with most of the parents. Some of the parents you're still going to have a philosophical difference with. It's not going to matter. Mm-hmm. But it's the right thing to do, so go ahead and do it, right? That's it. Yeah. By the way, the same thing from what I found is true with my wife too. Communicate, over-communicate. Doesn't guarantee success, but
set yourself up.
Not doing it guarantees your failure. So just do it. It's the right thing to do. Yeah.
I want to touch on the theater music thing. I actually had a piano teacher fire me. Told my mom, and I quote, "He's a waste of your money and my time." And I heard it. Like, she could have at least gone in the other room. But that's how it goes.
Yeah, I still remember it. My sisters would play in recitals all the time, Coach. My teacher I was never even invited to one. Like, not Three Blind Mice, not Silent Night. I mean, these are like 2-finger chord type things. None. And it's probably why I give people so much credit when I see like people doing theater. People doing. I've talked to my son about it. Like, hey, his school's got like this theater thing. I ask him all the time, do you ever think about? Oh, I'm not doing that. He's big, tough athlete. I'm like, dude, it's cool if these people like what they're doing. Like, you know how difficult that is to get up there on the stage. Like, that's tough. So yeah, I have so much respect for people who do that, right?
Well, it's a little bit like you touched on the sports is the vehicle for something, and theater can be it, and music can be it, all these different things. And then my mind keeps going back to, we spend so much time concerned about the games for young athletes.
Yeah.
And my previous job was working in the NHL for the last 7 years, and we were like, it's performance based. But you take a half a step back to our American League team, and if the players who are prospects are doing everything right, and they're doing they're practicing hard and they're getting better, but the American League team loses, as a management group, we're like, we took a step. And that's like the second highest level in the world, and it's all about practice. And then when I'm around new sports, it's like, okay, you won a game on a Saturday, you lost a game on a Saturday. What does Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday look like?
100%.
Are they kicking the soccer ball? Are they getting 100 kicks in? Are they touching the puck? Are they developing cognitive, like, play reading ability? That's what matters.
Yes.
Until you get to the performance, and it's such a small, you're talking about Europe, like, they laugh at us playing 50 games a year at 10 years old. They're playing 11 games.
Yeah.
And they're practicing 110 times.
Yes.
I think that we have to really focus on like what goes on in practices. That's what have parents concerned about.
Yeah. No, and I've heard, and this is a decade ago that they said it, where Matt Rule, the head coach of Nebraska football, has a great comment about competitive people. He wants competitive athletes on his team, but the way he defines competitive, which I think is genius, I stole it from him with now as a coach, is you don't ever finish second to yourself. That's competitive. Like, okay, you're playing against somebody else. Of course you're going to up the thing. I mean, unless you're, inherently uncompetitive or don't care, but then, go do something else, right? So it's just No, competitiveness, you don't finish second to yourself Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at practice, right? And all that stuff. And that's why even today in our training, we talk about doing a debrief. Hey, what are we doing well? What can we improve? What's our plan to do it, right? Is we just naturally do it over performances, games.
Right.
It's not wrong to do it, but man, it's the Monday through Friday that Saturday ends up being a byproduct of it. Are we debriefing Monday through Friday with our own children? Just get in the car. Hey, how things go? What do you think about, those behaviors that will lead to success? And so many coaches, even 10 years ago, talking about how in America, with all the games that are played, we've lost some of this competitive fire because we don't compete, we showcase now.
Right.
And it's always about showcasing. That really stuck out. That was a softball coach who brought that up, right? They play 7 games in a weekend. There's not even a scoreboard up. Ask a softball player, well, hey, what was the score of your game? She's going to say, I don't know. I went 3 for 4 and hit whatever, right? And who did that? Not the softball player. We've done that as parents on the softball players, right? And now that's I'm using it as an example because it was a softball coach that had talked to us. That's true in every sport where we don't compete, we showcase, and they showcase, and now all of a sudden they get to high school and or college, and coaches are pulling their hair out, wondering why they've got generally uncompetitive people, and then in the pros as well. Well, because we've created this atmosphere of showcase your skills rather than compete against the other team. And to your point, fewer games, more practice would help.
And you put more emphasis on those fewer games because it makes them want to compete. And without a doubt, competitive nature. And I think that some of it's genetics. A lot of sports science was 50% genetics, 50% environment. As coaches, let's create that competitive environment.
Yeah.
So we foster that competitive nature versus the showcasing.
You know where you still see it? You still see it in football.
Okay.
Because you can't play football year round. You can't play every single set. You can't play 4 football games in a weekend. Consistently you can't, right? So just the nature of the violence of the sport still keeps the number of games down, which makes the number of games more competitive, each one meaning more because of it.
Somewhere football coaches are going to listen to this and take that as a challenge. We can make it showcase weekend. What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, that's really good. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours about this because it's really, your experience is interesting. I know what you're doing with the program is excellent. So it's the C intent on developing leaders is so valuable. So everyone who goes through your program is going to I hope they take a ton from it. That we know they're all going to be better leaders, which is better for America. Which I'm into that. That's great.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. We really appreciate it. Some of the things that we talk about is, and I really think somebody asked me the other day, like, what was the biggest impact on you as a coach? And without hesitation, I said, becoming a father. Becoming a father made me a better coach. And now all of our training at the program too, it really comes back to, yes, our training is it was created with the idea in mind of making you the best athlete at what you can do. And then very shortly thereafter, our founding, making you the best corporate teammate that you can be and the best corporate leader you can be. And yes, that is still a focus of our training. But what I really hope from our training is that, people take out of this, how can I be the best boyfriend, girlfriend, partner? How can I be the best dad, mom? We talked about listening to understand today. And man, trying to listen to understand, being more emotionally resilient with my own children. I hope all of this stuff, because ultimately for me, my number one team is my wife, and my kids are 1A there. And really, but there are other teams that are priorities in my life. And we hope that our training helps people be better at all of the teams they're a part of.
Yeah, that's great. It's being a good teammate. It's not always about being a leader. It's about being that person that contributes to the team regardless of your role.
Coach, it's so funny you say it because, you go to parent-teacher conferences, right? And I hear from, parents, oh my God, insert son's name or daughter's name, such a leader in the class, such a leader. And then 4 days later, like we're talking to some other parents and they're like, Mrs. So-and-so said so-and-so was a leader, Yeah, no kid. Every single kid in the class is a leader, right?
That's when you call the teacher and like, who's a real leader?
Yeah. No, look, the fact that, the teachers are awesome, but we always say that, which is like, boy, if we ever go to a parent-teacher conference and that teacher's like, your son, your daughter, they're one of the greatest teammates I've ever seen. A coach ever says that to us, my wife and I are going to be like, man, all right, things are working here, right?
It's a high five moment. Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't all have to be great leaders, but come on, be a great teammate,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, thanks again for your time. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for listeners, too, and look forward to next week. We'll bring you more stories about sports and athlete development.